Hi everyone, welcome to another Stackfest Q&A. We are joined this time by James from Queen Mary College. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries. And yeah, we're just gonna run through some questions. It should be fairly easy. We're just gonna get your input.
Cool.
So the first, cool. So if you had to explain it to a parent, what is esports?
So esports is effectively competitive gaming between one human and another, or teams of humans with another. There's no human versus computer element on the other side of it, if you will.
Cool. And what exactly do you do within the esports industry?
So I was fortunate enough to help write a few of the BTEC units for the first ever Esports BTEC that came out and was launched last academic year now. And what we're doing at Queen Mary's College is giving students a 2-year portfolio, in essence, for them to go and work in the esports industry if they wish, whether that's through a university route, a traditional university route, or an esports degree program now. There's a few of them that exist, and prepare them for working in social media, maybe, or mental or physical well-being aspects, or traditional sports based on the work that they've done with us. Maybe it's in a role of shoutcasting specifically. It covers an awful lot of kind of criteria within the industry. And what we want to do is prepare students with digital proof future skills that they can kind of take in an industry that is crying out for them at the moment.
And obviously we just touched upon it, but how important do you think education is going to be for the development of esports?
I think it's got a big role to play, and I think that's already shown by its sheer popularity. What we've been able to do with the creation of the BTEC is to put something that's contemporary, it's engaging, it's vital, but it's also fun, and you know that is allowed in education. But it's preparing students for an industry that's worth north of whatever 1.1, 1.2 billions and growing. It was on the rise before the pandemic, and obviously the pandemic has helped, for want of a better word, increase its popularity and awareness. And companies are crying out for people with those types of skill sets, those people who are wanting to kind of push and pursue their careers further after the BTEC as well. So everything's in a good place, I think.
Yeah, and obviously it's been growing a lot. And what do you think the future trends are going to be? Obviously we've seen these massive growth, so I think something's going to be coming.
I think it's going to continue to kind of gain in popularity, but more importantly, it's going to gain in sort of an awareness front on the average person, whatever that really means, because you've got that kind of weird juxtaposition where this is quite niche to some people, yet conversely, the most watched sport, if you will, in the world, more so than the Super Bowl. And if something can be worth that many millions and billions of pounds, how is it that most people on the street couldn't name you a team or a player or a streamer? So I think that's going to increase, and I think its popularity is going to help with that. You're looking at more UK-based organisations that are coming front and centre, as well as the traditional ones that have been around for a few years now as well. You've got, as I say, 5-6 places doing the degrees now. The BTEC, as I say, which was launched last September, is now almost doubled in size in terms of schools and colleges that have signed up for that as well. So everything seems to be kind of in that upward trajectory in terms of awareness and people getting on board. And if you're a parent and for whatever reason you're kind of listening to this and you're still not sure, you just have to look at the facts and the figures, and you have to look on what jobs are really crying out for in terms of skill set that esports can provide in some way or another.
And I think something that you guys do that is very important at universities as well is that, grassroots level of esports. How important would you say that is to developing the scene?
Yeah, and again, it is important because it covers an awful lot of bases, and esports is more accessible than many other traditional sports on top of that as well. And what we have at Queen Mary's College is we have various routes into doing esports. You can do it as part of an enrichment, and if you come to us and you sign up for a Wednesday afternoon, then you're part of the British Esports Association champs every Wednesday, and you compete with people up and down the country in various scrims and kind of league matches, which is great. Because where else would you do that? Where else other than the traditional sport on a Wednesday afternoon at college, where you compete with your local college rivals 10 miles down the road? Our students are competing and scrimming against people up in Yorkshire or across to Wales or down in Devon, hundreds of miles away, and it's kind of a bit of an eye-opener in that respect. If you don't want that kind of approach, you just kind of want a slightly more kind of chill vibe with it in terms of your taste of esports, then we do enrichments on Thursday and Friday, and they're more sort of escapism based. We've got the option of the BTEC, as I've mentioned many times before. And so depending on what you're interested in, we cater from a gaming perspective. But as you know, it doesn't matter if you're not signed up for the BTEC or the BEA. You could be a casual gamer, you could be a streamer, a shoutcaster, someone involved in social media or events planning. It all caters for it, really. And that's why it's such a fun time to be in the industry at the moment.
And I think with this thing you just mentioned, the fact that the industry is so wide and there's so many different roles that you can do within it, what advice would you give to someone as new students say that they want to turn that passion they have into gaming to a full-time job?
That's quite an easy one, really, because what you're telling me then is you've got a passion and you've got an interest and you've got drive. So therefore, they're key attributes already before you started. My advice for the industry is the same advice to I've been given 15, 16 years for a traditional degree or traditional employment. You've got to work hard. You've got to work harder than the person left and right of you. You've just got to be nice. And you've got to know what you want. And it may be that you don't know what you want straight away. You know what your kind of general direction is or your end goal, but you don't know the journey or the path yet. That's okay. You've got time on your side. It's a good time to be involved in the UK esports industry anyway, in terms of what we're able to do and produce. And as I say, other organizations that are out there, and people are wanting to kind of get fresh young talent all the time. And if you work hard, you're nice, and you're one of the best, you'll be fine. You'll be well looked after, I'm sure.
Very good advice. And I think more generally as well, now that, people just got their A-levels back, so obviously they're going to be going to university. More generally, what advice would you be giving to students going into university nowadays?
Well, again, it's an interesting time because the summer, last month really, I think it was the first ever cohort that have effectively graduated with the first ever esports degree in the UK, and that was at Staffordshire University in London.
I'm graduating myself this year, masters in esports. Yeah.
Superb. Well, there you go. You're one of the first. So that's quite a cool kind of niche thing, I think, to be a part of, that little bit of history. So what you've got, again, you're starting to get a little bit of a progression route, and I think, and you'll see that more clearly in a few years' time, where students might go BTEC, esports, degree, esports, career, esports, or they may not. And again, you could get into the esports industry through doing an English literature degree, a business degree, a sports science degree. It's about what you're willing to put in during your time there and beyond, and that's what's going to make you employable. What you can do as extras on top of that, you carry on streaming, carry on kind of improving your followers and your social media content, looking at putting on sort of LAN events and going to events that are now thankfully ever so slowly coming back on, and just kind of soak up the experience and the atmosphere and just see what's out there, really. And you'll get knocked back, no doubt. For every 10 requests or messages you'll put out there, half won't reply, and those that do might say no. But eventually you'll get somewhere. It may not always be the most glamorous thing that you're being asked to do, but you've got to fit in, and that's important. And that's where you then kind of show your skill set, show your drive and your passion, and as I've said before, just be nice.
Yeah, I think obviously everything you said is really good advice, and I think something that really helps as well is the fact that it's esports, so it's digital, right? So nowadays, even with coronavirus and everything that's going on, I feel like we can work online, you can do stuff remotely. So I think it's just opening those doors and kind of just putting yourself out there, whether in person or remotely, just maximizing that time in the industry and really just throwing yourself out there.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's what you project outside. It's making sure that the people who are going to ask you to do some work here, there, or anywhere, or employ you, that you are what you say you are, and as I say, you're willing to learn, because there's so many opportunities and so many kind of different levels of expertise out there. You just got to make sure you tap into the right stuff. I mean, there's lots of naysayers out there as well. There's always some particular grumpy folk in social media land. It's up to you whether you choose to ignore them or not, or engage with them or not. But work hard and you'll be fine, I'm sure.
And talking about industry, who is someone that you look up to in the esports industry?
I think anyone who's prepared to kind of graph from the bottom up. I'm not specifically going to name names really, because I think everyone is. If I name one person, someone else will kind of jump on board and batter me for not mentioning them. I'm very fortunate to have some nice friends in the industry, but I think you look at particularly the work within the British Esports Association, because they've taken a lot of the chin. They've got Some really good people involved in it, though. They've got a clear drive and passion and direction of what they want to do, and they're not the most well-funded group of people out there, but they're doing it for the right reasons. And I think that is a really good stepping stone for people who are young teenagers are, who I encounter at 16, 17. They give you that stepping stone, and they work hard for it. Where they go after that, again, is obviously up to them. It's interesting to watch people over at Guild, particularly. We were fortunate enough to work with some people from Guild this year. They're all kind of fabulous people as well. The people at Resolve are working hard, and the work that they're putting in, and partnerships with the Clarion and whatever. It's a really exciting time to watch everything evolve. So I shall be diplomatic and say everyone's lovely and friendly.
No, I have to agree. I feel like the industry has been growing so much as well from a UK perspective. From what I've seen, it's growing so much, and it's fantastic to see the work, as you mentioned, everyone's doing BA, etc. It's just fantastic. And a more personal question: what would you say is your favorite game?
Favorite game? It depends what mood I'm in. I think it's quite nice and simple. So I'm not a traditionalist in terms of esports. My idea of escapism at the moment is to go home and do sort of narrative driven stuff. So Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Last of Us 1 or 2, whatever.
Very good game.
At the moment, yeah, I've fallen back into Warzone, which is tricky anyway because I'm not very good. Even more tricky with the news that's happening.
The changes.
Yeah, with that and Activision and the things that are going on there. But my job as an educator is to talk about those events, those horrible events that are coming left, right, and centre, and to kind of help students be aware of that and what have you. So, there's a small amount of positive there. But in terms of what I like to watch esports wise, I'm really loving Apex again at the moment. I've sort of found that again quite a nice, refreshing change.
New season, very good.
Yeah, exactly. And there's obviously a lot of streamers that are either falling back into it or are going to or being pushed into, depending on your views, into that. So it's nice to see that get a bit of scope and exposure. If I'm going to dip into anything, you can always, 2-3 minutes of Rocket League can easily turn into 20 or 30. And if you've got the time and you're willing to strap yourself in for 45 minutes to an hour or so, then you've got League of Legends. Yeah, that's always fun and entertaining as well, isn't it?
Yeah, personally, I've played League of Legends for 9 years, so for me, that is the main game.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean that's not going away anywhere soon, is it? What they've done and how they constantly regurgitate and keep things fresh is pretty impressive stuff.
And the new games that they're bringing forward as well, they're going to become, I feel like, one of the main. I mean, obviously, they're one of the biggest games company, right?
Yeah.
And now they're bringing with Valorant and these all other games, Rift as well. I think it's just it's going to be very interesting to see how the industry grows. I feel like in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, Valorant's amazing. Did you think of how is that game being out a year? Barely.
Yeah, a year. I feel like it was during the middle of quarantine, wasn't it?
Yeah, so just over a year now, and you think of where that is in terms of numbers and exposure. I mean, that is impressive as well. You have to give up kudos to Fortnite and that and its longevity, but again, that's not actually been around as long as people think it has. But they're constantly refreshing, and you look at what they're doing with the music industry and the Ariana Grande event at the weekend. That is just so on point and so just phenomenal with what they're able to do to pull in new audience members, but to keep other people kind of interested as well is fantastic as well. And that kind of where you go back to one of your questions about what can you do within esports. Well, those suggestions alone, they're all different skill sets for different things really, but they're all under the umbrella of esports if you want them to be. So as I say, it's a good time to kind of watch it all unfold. Yeah, no, it's been very nice as well seeing that collaboration, not only between esports and gaming, just like other industries, gaming, like the live streaming industry, the music industry, just any industry in general. I feel like that gaming becoming into that mainstream thing is finally becoming that norm, and it's great to see. Yeah, and then you look at 100 Thieves and their latest partnership with Gucci, and the fact they're a lifestyle brand. It's a nice time to watch it because quite literally every day is a different day in terms of press releases or partnerships or collaborations being released. Yeah, crypto as well. So the teams getting involved in being crypto sponsored. You mentioned with the Gucci and 100 Thieves. League of Legends had the same thing with Versace. The merge, Uniqlo as well is doing stuff with League of Legends. It's just it's fantastic to see how much the industry is growing, and And what are you most looking forward to at Stackfest? I'm looking forward to this is sound silly, but I'm looking forward to physically seeing the people I've had the fortune of speaking to for a year and a half. I've been able to actually physically see the site, the setup, the guests and the speakers. All sound great. It's nice, as I say, to all being well, physically see them, have a handshake and have a coffee, and not these virtual coffees that we seem to still be having from time to time. Looking forward to seeing Alfie. Alfie Wright, he's my new best friend as well. He's done me a favor or two recently, so it'd be good to see him, and ultimately just see what
London Esports.
Yeah,
we should mention London Esports.
Yeah. He's helped me out with some merch that you'll be seeing across on our Twitter and Instagram channels soon. So I owe him a drink at least. But we're very fortunate to have won tickets, as you know. So we're a competition with you guys. So it'd be nice to get our students out there and physically see an event as well. And I believe you're pretty desperate as well that you're going to be asking me to do a speaking role at some point as well. So it would be nice to get out there and do something there on stage as well.
Yeah. But no, yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, that seeing in person, obviously we've already talked about this, like, it's esports, so everything's online, but having that in-person touch is always going to be nice as well. It becomes more of a personal affair as well, and it's going to be fantastic to see everyone in the industry. Yeah. And James, thank you very much for your time. Where can we find you on social media?
You're welcome to find me on Twitter, which is @Fraser Esports, or you can find me on Instagram, which is _esports_teacher. And I'm also manager, for want of a better word, for the QM Samurai, which is our esports team. So please go and have a look and come say hello as well.
Well, thank you very much, James, for your time. For everyone listening, please buy tickets for Stackfest, and we'll see you very soon, 9th to 11th of September. And yeah, have a good day.
Look forward to it. Thanks, everyone.